Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369. It's been a minute since I've been on here. I just wanted to get on here and kind of just go over some of the things that I left off almost a year ago. That's how long it's been since I've been on here. And it's kind of ironic because majority of all the videos up to the last one that I made, a lot more things have transpired over that time period, which obviously we are seeing and bear witnessing to right before our eyes. It's sad to have to come back on here after the time that I've been gone off of here and to come on here and literally show the world is in us is burning, and it's sad to see the state of society the way it is, have gone this low in the standards, one, in the moral compass, two, in the compassion and empathy fields, three. It's sad to see the morals and the code which was left by parents, grandparents, and stuff, prior generations, how a lot of that has fizzled away and has gone into this narcissistic, entitled, uh, arrogant, um, living in a bubble type of reality that is completely destroying every known system or social structure across, not just here in the America, but everywhere, man. And it's sad to see those things change within the past several years. The past couple of years have been even worse with the gaslighting, the increased targeting of the populace, and divisive rhetoric that keeps the population at each other's throats, at each other's um in each other's faces. And a lot of that is done while the main players or the main source behind a lot of these chaotic circumstances that are playing out in society, which society itself ended up ends up having to deal with the circumstances of from this stuff that has been created. And people are so hell bent on the finger pointing, but everybody is finger pointing in directions away from where the fingers really need to be laid. It's embarrassing to me to even be able to sit here and have people, and I've said this numerous times, it's very embarrassing to sit and try and legitimize anything that this corrupt government has to say, and those who embody that lie or the deception, who push this out here amongst the people for people to pick from and pick a side and choose. You pick a side of one evil. Choosing from between two evils is not a choice. I don't know who happened to put that out there as a part of being a normal process, but politics and all this stuff. People say, well, that's politics, is a dirty game. Yeah, it's a dirty game. It's not only dirty, politicians are liars, they're hypocrites, they're not looking out for the best interests of the people who they claim they serve. They're only looking out for the interests of those who are putting money in their pockets, in their portfolios, or those institutions or corporations that have a need for them. and they supply that need by selling out their own. So it's embarrassing to see people trying to sit up here and hold some type of moral standard or code and try to act like, you can't do it, man. I mean, I don't get it how people can be so, but then again, you can in an instance, but it's embarrassing to have this to sit up here and literally see a lot of this stuff playing out right before your eyes, and you have people who you may have looked at with some type of respect at once. Um, you may have looked at some of these institutions with some respect or with some type of reverence or whatever. And many see this stuff transpiring and they still hold on to these same false narratives and these same values that literally are not being represented anymore. It's hard for me to even imagine how a government could sit up and accuse anybody who doesn't think, who utilizes the sovereign right of being a free thinker. I mean, being created by God to have the ability to think for yourself, use critical thinking, and you literally have folks that shame you, trying to destroy your life, your livelihood, your career. However, people who get on here and try to make money off of YouTube or whatever other social media platform, and as soon as you say anything that is not according to the approved narrative, then you lose your well-being. What kind of world is that? That is not no fucking freedom. That is not no fucking and supposed democracy or whatever. Every time I cannot hear that word and not associate demonic with it. It's automatically, every time I hear democracy, don't ask me why, but every time I've heard that word, every time people throw it up in the air, acting like that's what it's about, when they literally work against the supposed principles that they're pushing, it always come up demonic. Democracy, demonic. And we can go into the root words, the Greek meanings, and all this other stuff, all you want to. Either way, people are going off of stuff that literally was given to them, told to them by maybe in some other time, historically, information that was passed down from prior, but it never fails to show you how none of it lines up anymore to the basic core principles that at one time it may have meant. And even at that time, there may have been deception going on. But how do you stand tall in a world in which people who utilize free thinking and have an ability to think for themselves, not only think for themselves, but also look at the threats that are compiling more and more each day. And all of it seems to line up with not only the government of this country, but governments all across this planet that are doing systematic or taking systematic actions that are totally in disregard of the people in which they are governing, which the people have voted for this stuff, man. The people have chosen these people or these representatives from wherever. And you see all of this foolishness happening, man, from Canada to Africa, China, and it's more to the story than just sitting up here talking about trying to have diplomatic ties on this shit. Man, half of the people, half of these governments, they don't even they deny their own people following other governments. Like, for one, you go into Europe, they having this big issue now with all of the Ukraine stuff. When the last couple of years, everything was hunky-dory, everything was all okay, all good. Now all of a sudden, everybody's okay, we gotta let Ukraine go because we got another we gotta get with Israel. So now all the lying, all the stealing, all the hypocrisy, all the murdering and gaslighting for wars and bloodshed, they've taken so many out over there. Now they want to just sweep this on the rug and move to the next thing while they're doing more criminal stuff, engaged in more criminal activity against the populace. And for people who know and have some sense of common sense, you can't even speak on it. You can't speak on it. You just gotta deal with it. Deal with the ignorance of those around you. Deal with the ignorance of those supposed politicians who are voted in to speak on behalf of the people. But how is that happening when most of the people are in disinformation? People aren't even given the right information. It's not even a fluke. They do it wide open in front of people's faces now, but yet nobody, large portion of people, excuse me, seem not to think there's a problem with that. And these are the real problems with society, because majority of the stuff that's happening is due because of people falling asleep at the wheel and allowing these crazed, drunken drivers who are not looking out for the best interest, once again, of people in general, but are looking for their own escape, their own heaven on earth, their own uh, pie in the sky, or their own spot in order for them to be in the limelight. Everything else is third. It ain't even secondary. So I don't get it how a lot of people continue to there is no, and this is my opinion, this comes from me personally and from my heart. I don't see anything changing until this government is held accountable. All of these corrupt politicians that have sat around and have literally lied, used all type of psychological mind games, because they're not really the ones who are running shit. And I have to say that again, they're not the ones who are really doing things. It is established deep state cabal type groups that are running things into the ground that people do not know anything about. We keep seeing the same faces out there, but they ain't the ones running this stuff. And if they don't comply or they don't do what they're supposed to be done as far as them being a supposed civil servant or public servant to the people, then if you're doing otherwise, if you're trying to help the people, then you automatically get threatened. Then your political career or your opinion or input to how things should be done makes no difference, because it's totally against what those who really are in supposed control. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to see it for what it is. And like I said, to me, there is no way this government has to crumble and fall, because they have trounced on everything that you could literally accept as being normal, as being the proper way to conduct not only diplomatic business internationally, but also domestically. They've lost all credibility and all of that, man. It makes no, how can you even, hell, just look at the crap they did just yesterday, the other day, man. San Francisco, California. Never would have thought that place would have came downhill the way it is. But with all of the filth and the degeneracy that has been promoted in those areas, You have the audacity to go clean up, move homeless people around, and do this to placate and play a game to accommodate the so-called enemy of the United States, a communist China. So when you're able to do stuff like this right out in the open of people who are looking and seeing this, you see this every day. You see homeless people, you see crime, you see vagrancy, you see businesses leaving out of here, the economy tanking. You see all this stuff happening. But none of that is important for the own citizens seeing it. It only becomes important until, okay, we got foreigners coming over here, the delegation from China. So we got to clean up, move all this stuff around. It's sad, man. That is pitiful. And the people who are elected officials in federal, state, and local governments are responsible for a lot of this stuff. And the people who voted them in, the people who refuse to do their own diligent research on all matters, the people who continue to embrace fear and embrace fear mongering, to embrace dependency on other on narratives and agendas that are not bound in facts, or they are bound in a little bit of half and half, a little truth here, a little falsehood here. But the thing is, many don't even want to come out of that bubble in which they do their own or get around people who literally trying to find out or figure out what the hell has been going on, what is going on, not only in our government, but in the world. Because if you're sitting here and you thinking there is not serious implications going on all across this planet, then you seriously in a detached state of reality. No different than these coward politicians. I call them all cowards, because if you stand on this stuff with no backbone, you know, and you just literally keep going with the flow just to get a couple more votes, or to have people so you won't have nobody upset with you and all this stuff. I mean, come on, man. It's literally time out for a lot of that garbage, useless rhetoric, while everything around you is imploding. So this government is an embarrassment. Me personally, I say it from experience, because like I've said in many of my prior videos, this whole issue dealing with 2020 on up, dealing with the medical emergency, was used in a way in which has helped to destroy, has helped to divide more than anything. You still have, right now to this day, people who are continually dealing with some aspect of the destruction of the economy, the system, and the social adhesion that has started from 2020. Not only that, but also just the missing bodies, the people who unfortunately have are no longer here due to the circumstances which came about, which I'm also experiencing that, and I look at it as my loved ones. And whether anybody else want to look at it or agree, I don't really care. It's not about them. It's about how I feel in my heart and in my soul, that my folks, those who I love, those I don't even know, who are strangers, who happen to go the same route, who ended up experiencing the same circumstances, were murdered by agendas, by distortions, by evil, wicked, demonic beings who are within the ash confines of the same structures and systems that we are supposed to accept and roll with. to not speak on things like this or not even mention it or whatever, man, it's like a disservice, not only to oneself, but a disservice to humankind, humanity in itself. And, you know, to me, it's no different than what has happened over the whole medical emergency than what has been going on to continue to allow people to murder in the name of government, politics, religion, land, resources, because basically that's what it all boils down to. It's not about the which this is another thing that happened to come up in the situation in the Middle East. You know, that, oh, now it comes to the realization that maybe some of that has to do with not just religious or years of this same um cycle of violence that just continue to be perpetuated over there between, we know, the belligerents in the countries involved. And if a person don't know the history of all that over there, they need to do it. They need to do their due diligence and not listen to no damn folks on CNN and MSNBC and Fox and all. Do your own due diligence. Talk to people who from over there, elders, people who they will not allow their voices to be heard, because a lot of them are like, look, it's going to be totally different than what the narrative. But anytime you can sit up and justify the genocide of people and then use taxpayer money and use all type, man, no, man, you gotta be one of the lowest hypocritical scumbags on the planet if you got enough energy to support stuff like that. But stuff that these folks are doing right out in the open to you, there is no other way to call a coward than folks who silly sit there and comply with shit like that. That's just cowardice to the extreme. You're a coward if you don't know, if you can't call out shit for what it really is. You're a coward if you can't call out all sides for the wrong that they're all doing. You're a coward if you can't call out the fact that motherfuckers, and I have to say this because you have the media who are constantly embroiled in gaslighting people for the wrong purposes, so that, you know, that certain agendas can be met, certain mindsets can be implemented in the public. And you are a coward if you report on anything other than what is the reality. When you report on a script, when you report on some authorized breakdown of how shit should be, you are a fucking coward. You are a coward. You are a coward when you don't respect two sides of the story. You don't even want to try to investigate from one perspective to another perspective. You just want to be caught and stuck in one way, even if that way is causing so much pain. It's almost like the whole comparison to a domestic battery person, you know, in a domestic relationship that is aggressive. Person is always getting beat up or humiliated, downgraded, but they always tend to go back to this person out of fear, out of comfortability, out of this is all I know, or I don't believe I can move forward or whatever. And this is just exactly how this government has been treating people. And I can literally say I don't have any respect for anybody who continue to look at this as being any legitimate sense of leadership or whatever. I don't give a damn whatever side of the arguments could be for Biden all day long, for Trump all day long. When it all boils down, each of these corrupt parties are calling each other out for the hypocrisy and the corruption and criminal activity that they're all encased in, and they're kept safe by the taxpayers. They're kept safe by the cowards who don't want to call stuff out the way it is. They're kept safe by the cowardice amongst themselves in these political circles who refuse to acknowledge the fact that maybe we have been doing some stuff outside of the boundaries of what we are supposed to have been operating in. So maybe we need to sit back, pump the brakes a little bit, and kind of bring everybody to the table. But that's not happening because all have been corrupted, all have been touched, all have been touched, and it's unfortunate to see so much has transpired over the years for over this year since the last video that I had, from places mysteriously catching fire from Hawaii with no explanations whatsoever of some of the craziness that literally have happened to supposedly American citizens, but they get treated like second class people. And you know, the argument goes here and there. You have some people believe, well, people who live on the mainland, they don't look at America as being, they look at it this. And people go back and forth on a hamster wheel of trying to dish out what's wrong and right, but yet they still avoid what the hell happened in Maui. What the hell happened with the missing people? What the hell happened with these weird fires that seem to just pick and choose where they wanted to go, and nobody seems to, and then the government, local government, federal government has nothing to say. You had incidents that have happened in Acapulco, you know, stuff that just can't, nobody seems to want to keep this stuff in the radar, but they'd rather sit up here and argue about the things that literally keep people divided. And these people are banking on it. The cowards in government, the cowards in our state houses, city council buildings, all these hypocrites being called out now, which is, I love seeing when a lot of these fake mayors, fake governors, fake senators and congresswomen and Congress being called out for the hypocrisy that they're doing. The people who are actually doing it are the bravest people that I could ever imagine. They're more braver than some of the people that this society wants to put bravery on. You know, no. What's brave is when you literally come out here attacking and exposing this corrupt ass government for what it is, the corrupt institutions for what they are, not only here, but across the planet. That's where bravery and courage come in. These are the people who can stand up, and they have my respect. I don't care what color or banner they fall up under, or what circle of thought. If you speaking on truth and you are of truth, you striving to be of truth, then truth is going to resonate with you regardless. You know, it doesn't matter if it's not fashionable or if it's not made to be acceptable or whatever. Who cares about whether a person cares of likes me because I like truth? That's their personal opinion. But people should really be in a situation where they're really looking at things with open eyes, not wise-eyed shut, but open, wide open, man. People's children are being attacked. Children are being put in a situation where they can't even be children. They can't even be who they are, children. I remember so many wonderful memories of being in grade school and being at that age. Those around me who are still here, we talk, we reminisce, we reflect. Everyone has the same resonance on this thing, man. You can't take that away. I'm from Generation X, so most of us in that generation, we can't take that away. Coming up in the 80s and 90s, man, you know, it was a time in which there were beautiful experiences, not only with family, with culture, you know, yes, there those things that you want and you wish would never had reared their ugly heads because you've seen how far it's fallen because of it over the years. But back then, children were able to be children. We were children. We were able to enjoy being a child, being able, even if it was just enjoying physical PE, gym, in gym class, being able to climb the ropes, play spiders and flies, you know, without worrying about sexual content, sexual innuendos, uh, uh, gender affirmity, and all this other mess, man. TikTok videos and stuff that have nothing to do with building up your spiritual, not only your spiritual, but your social and communicative abilities outside of getting on here doing a clown show and people being influenced by it. To they carry it on, man. It's sad, man. It is sad. And when you throw government and you throw all of this stuff in here, it is, in my opinion, made, manipulated to be this way. And people are sitting back, allowing it. People are sitting back cowardly, cowering in their homes with their head in the sand, afraid to speak on things because they feel like, oh, they could lose it all. They could lose the friends. But my thing is, if your friendships or your relationships have to deal on being other than who you really are, how are you really making a difference? Supposedly, if you're supposed to be on that type of path, if you have to worry about your friendships, your relationships, whether business, socially, however it goes, if you have to sit up and worry about that when it comes to your moral compass and spiritual guidance, then what is the point? Why even mention certain things that would gaslight people, especially when you talk about religion and you start going into preaching and trying to teach other people and judge and all this other stuff, when you're literally guilty of doing the exact same thing that you don't want to, that you're in denial about, you don't want to call it out, you don't want to touch the subject because you know there's other people out here who literally are awake and could see that and could call it out. And that what angers people to a point where you have all of this stuff, people at each other's throats, and these coward, institutionalized people who are scheming and have been doing this for a long time. It's just now getting to a point where majority of the people are becoming more aware that it's something else transpiring underneath the surface of all of these talking points, these agendas, and everything else that they got going out here to keep people distracted, stressed, confused. And a lot of it is due because people are allowing it. People are allowing it. The people are allowing it. The people are allowing it. The people are allowing so much to go on that could have been stopped, could have been nipped in the bud years ago. But cowards have allowed it to continue to go. And the brave, the courageous who have stood against it, we have seen them fall throughout the years, be called all type of names, from conspiracies, conspiracy theorists, nutcases, extreme fringe people, and you still see people like that being condemned and even are incarcerated or are going through political fights. A lot of people probably don't know who these people are, but they are here. I mean, you have different folks out here who have been doing it The majority of the people, when you hear the largest outcry against them for saying something that was basically in truth, you see all of these, all of the weapons of disinformation and influence come out to try and keep people from seeing these people for who they really are. And it's sad, it's unfortunate. So when you have these people, when you think of the whole collective across the planet, man, everybody need to speak and be on what the fuck is the right thing to do. And that's just stand on truth. We have historical supposed, because history has been tapped up and down with falsehood and with those who want to keep the people kind of stuck in a narrative, historical narrative that they have they have controlled, they have kept certain things hidden, suppressed, kept certain things um, uh, uh, away from being explained properly so that everybody could get a full, coherent, informative, you know, uh, look at what has happened in our historical past. But when you're dealing with corrupt entities who lie about every fucking thing, I mean, it's obvious that you're not going to have that. So a lot of stuff in our historical past has been touched, has been hampered. I mean, it is what it is, but it's just sad to see people from the last time I did a video to now, and to see how far all of this stuff has come and gone, and it seems not an inch or a shred of peace has come into it seemed like it's gotten worse 20 times over. And to work your life away to try and subsidize these corrupt ass politicians and these institutions that are literally robbing from the people to pay Paul and Peter, you know, rob from this Peter to pay Paul, rob from Paul to pay Saul, rob from Saul in order and to keep their names and their involvement in a lot of this stuff from being exposed the way it should be. I mean, that's kind of the biggest disservice could be against the people of this country as well as any other country when dealing with their governments and the political people who were supposedly vetted and voted in by intelligent people. But when you look at it, there's not a shred of intelligence that could support any of this shit that's been happening. So it makes it look like all of these supposed people who are supposed certified and educated for all this shit are some of the dumbest people that you could come across. And if that ain't, and if you, and if I mean, it got to be. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening out here. You tell me, the stuff that's happening in our society is that informed, intelligent society that is doing this shit? No, it's not. These people are dumb as fuck. They're evil. Half of them don't have a backbone. A lot of them are just just basically just want attention. Mostly everybody is suffering from some type of entitlement or narcissistic type of arrogance. Not just Trump, not just Biden, not just, it's all of these corrupt clowns. You see it every day in the sanctuary cities. One minute they crying about the need for immigrants coming in, and then when it overshadows their own reality, then all of a sudden it's an issue. How can you trust or even conform to anything that these corrupt institutions continue to put out? It's sad. It's amazingly sad, but it's also amazingly wonderful to see so many people around that really aren't. And this is the part that they don't want to see. They want people to be so bottled up in fear They don't want you to think that other people out here are thinking or have the same kind of similar thoughts when coming to this, because everybody is affected in some way or another. So I just wanted to get on here, and it's good to be back on here. It's been a minute, like I said. I just wanted to get on here and share an outlook, out of love and just out of the want for peace to finally take root, because it seems like the route the route that humanity has taken has been a route that has not been for peace for the last decade or so. It has just completely gone downhill, and people have literally allowed it to go that way by being gaslit, um, by being hit with deflection after deflection, by not holding their corrupted politicians accountable for the shit that they do, and then bury themselves and try to hide behind these political affiliations and all that. Like that stuff supposed to save you from the ultimate judgment that everybody pushes out there for everybody to to hear. We all gotta stand before judgment, but I guess as long as you personally don't do the criminal act, but you support the criminals doing the criminal act, not only against you, but others around you, I guess you somehow safe from the judgment. That's not, no. It is sad, man. And for people to try and justify this whack government and the lies and stuff that these folks keep trying to push out, starting with the founding fathers and the Constitution, and all this rhetoric that continue to keep come out when y'all literally have disgraced them. They wasn't even accepted by a lot of the people in the country because, hell, how could you accept slave owners? Talking about what the hell they envision of a, it makes no sense. You know that. So people got to start answering this stuff, man. It's like, see it for what it is. People are tired of it. These folks sit up here and lie every fucking day, play with people's lives. They play with children's lives. They play with adults' lives. They play with the elderly lives. They play with everybody lives who would lend them an ear so that they can whisper into all this garbage that has been continuing to cause all this uproar. And half of the people who are doing this stuff, majority, more than half, they do not care. They're only out for their own ambitions, their own spotlight, their own security and safety in a world that has been torn apart. They have helped tear it apart. We have helped embolden them to tear it apart with a consistent, ignorant way of continued conformity, no radical changes that need to be that will come about to empower people on equitable lines. None of that. Everybody wants their share. Fuck the next person. If they didn't work hard enough or they didn't sacrifice hard enough, while the same people saying that are getting shafted by the same lying demonic clowns in politics, in these corporations, or however it go, sitting up here using your success stories. And 9 times out of 10, most successes are made, majority of them, not all of them, but majority of them are made off the backs of somebody else. So never, I don't get into, people want to clown folks and want to sit up here and talk all this crap about, how this company or that place and did this. A lot of time, most times it didn't been done off the backs of somebody else. A lot of times inappropriately being done, unjustly being done, economically has been a disadvantage. It's crazy, man. Just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I'm about to sign off. I just want to get on here. Everything is still way it is. Wishing nothing but the best peace and love to everybody to experience across um, this this space that we know as Earth. But that people will, we'll see it for what it is, and that a time of reckoning, a time of real change. All the changes that have been spoken of in the past have been rhetoric, have been scripts. Only thing have changed is the state of spiritual character of the people, which has fallen over the years more and more. And it just highlights all the hypocrites out here running around, acting like they this and that, entitled, acting like their information or what they brought to the table is more important than the next person, or their shit is gold. It's sad. It's saddening and sickening at the same time to see all of this transpire, because you're seeing the destruction of the human spirit as well. And civilization, you seeing it move away from civilized to degeneracy, and everybody is okay with it. That's the narrative that people want you to be. Okay, it's okay because the scientists said it's okay, because the fake theologians said it's okay, because the demonic politicians who rob from you every fucking day, and you see it right in front of your face. Nah. So I pray for everyone that everyone will be more cautious, more aware, more vigilant. I don't care who you are, young, old, it doesn't really fucking matter at this point. So people who continue to use all of these little dividing rhetorics and stuff like it, get out of that, man. I mean, you can do what you want, to each their own, man. But I don't see how that even brings any semblance of accountability that's needed for those who constantly run from it, or try and throw it off on others, or try and sacrifice someone else. Wow, their situation, their circumstances never change. They can continue to stand in front of the people and just do all of the wicked, corrupt stuff they can do, all at the blessings of the people. So I pray that whoever may come across this video, as I've always stated, man, that that you are in a state of peace, and that truth will continue to find those who are sincerely looking for and wanting to experience, live truth. We're all works in progress, but it's crazy. It's crazy. But with that, I just like to thank you for coming by. And Midnight the Battle Cat laying back there. We still good. And all praise be to the Creator. So I'll hopefully get back on here in the near future. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, maybe later on today. It doesn't matter. Just wanted to get on and let my face be seen and my voice be heard. With this, nothing has changed. Truth must continue to persist. The veil must continue to be lifted, so that all this corruption could be seen for what it is. All the shit that I help participate in and help promote, I put myself in it too. I don't look at myself any different than the next person. All of us have had a number done on us all over the board. So with that, I greet you in this universal greetings of peace.